Hey guys, how you doing? jpsarrireviews here. Now, Mortal Kombat Legends, A Scorpion's Revenge is a film that came out for Blu-ray and digital media a few months back. And I was intrigued by it because I'm a fan of Mortal Kombat. And I watched it a couple of times in the past few weeks. Of course, due to the coronavirus, we stay home, so there's not much to do sometimes. So we have to watch whatever is available. But is the film good or is it bad? So in the next couple of minutes, we are going to find out. They're good. The most important thing about this film, this animated film, is the animation. The animation is spot on. I really like the animation. It's very fluid. This is not, I would say, anime. This is Western animation, but it's done really well by, in this case, by Warner Brothers Animation. So it does have the same feel of many of the DC films. It's the same creators, the same artists. And I like it. It's very fluid. The background is good. The animation of the characters is well done. So that's the first thing that's going to grab your attention. The second thing I like about this film, of course, is the story. It's a good story. It's not complicated. Of course, if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you're going to understand this. It's very simplistic in that way. But it's the story, of course, of, in this case, Scorpion as his revenge and how he became. It's an origin story, but also for the other characters. And he does give you an explanation, the film, about the story of Mortal Kombat. So it's very simple, easy to follow. It's not complicated. You don't have to be, I would say, in depth with the knowledge of Mortal Kombat. Everyone can know what's going on. And that brings me to this point. If you know Mortal Kombat, then you are familiar with the maturity of this video game franchise. And of course, that's reflected in this film. Prior to this, of course, all the films that we had in the past, they were kind of watered down versions of Mortal Kombat. Even the cartoon that came out in the 90s, Defenders of the Realm, which is a joke in comparison to this. This doesn't really hold back. It really gives you Mortal Kombat for the forefront. You know, you get the violence, you get the gore, and the fluidity of the fights. Everything is there. So they did a real good job in translating the story of in this case, the video games into this film, and that's always good. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad. I wouldn't say that there's much bad in this film. There are a couple of things that, of course, you know, if you are familiar with Mortal Kombat, then you're going to feel at home. Now you're unfamiliar with it. The movie does a good job in explaining things out, but at the same time, I would say it doesn't go deep into it to the point where it feels a bit shallow at times. The story itself, of course, this is about the origin story of the Scorpion, but it doesn't really grab you in an emotional level. It's just a simply story. It doesn't complicate itself about it, and that would be probably a point of contention for some that want to have at least more meat and potatoes in the story. They want to have something that has more depth, and this doesn't have it. It's more about the fights, it's more about the animation. So that would be, I would say, not for everyone, but for some it will be a disappointment. Now, although the animation is spot on for the most part, there are times where I feel the animation went the cheap route. It wasn't as fluid as it should be, particularly on, I would say, on scenes that everything was on standstill. When the characters are talking, the animation in their mouths, all of that. Some people are going to point that out. It didn't offend me much. I don't think it was a big offender in this film. I think it's part of the art style that they were following. So it kind of looks cutesy at some points. But make no mistake, this is an R-rated film, and it plays like that. But yeah, sometimes animation wasn't as good as other times. And it's important to remember, and this is a warning for everyone that wants to try this film. This is not, and I mean not, a film for children, although it is a cartoon. And a lot of times people think that cartoons are fine, you know, for kids and all that. This is not for children. It is R-rated. It means that there is a lot of violence here. There is gore. You're going to see decapitations. You're going to see blood. There's language in here that is not appropriate for children. So this is definitely not for kids. This is a film for adults, and it, you know, should be watched by adults. So it is like a warning. It is, I wouldn't say it a bad thing in the film, but that's something that you need to be aware of and something that you need to be careful if you have kids at home. In conclusion, this is a good film that represents Mortal Kombat. In my opinion, this is better than any film that was in the past. It is better than Defenders of the Realm, and in my opinion, it gives and it really pays homage to Mortal Kombat, and it gives, you know, in this case, the franchise justice on the film front. Before that, we didn't have none of this at this level, and it leaves the door open for another film and a continuation of this, and pretty much to an expansion of this universe in animation. And I like that. I really love that. It was fun. It's entertaining. It's not long. There's a lot of action. It's not deep, so you don't really have to, you know, put your heart onto it. You just have to have fun with it, and it's always good. I like that. Not everything has to be in depth. Not everything has to be emotional, and I feel that this film plays, it really pays homage to the franchise, and he does it well. So if I have to give this film a final score, I would say it's an 8 out of 10, which is very good in my opinion. It is fun, entertaining. It's not deep. It's not emotional, but it's definitely an entertaining film during this time. But what is your opinion? What do you think? Have you watched this film? Are you a fan? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. God bless. Take care, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.